Okay, so I have a wee little problem. So this is my bookshelf. You'll notice that I use the term bookshelf because I only have one. This is the only thing that I have to hold all of my books. As you can see, it's a bit cramped right now. When we first moved into this flat, I originally had a different bookshelf, but I also had a lot less books. We bought this one and it gave me a lot more space, so I was able to do a lot more with this shelf. But since then, I got into reading and I just kept buying books or being given books or whatever. So I'm now at a point where I have books not just on the shelf, but I have books in places where they're not meant to be. I have books that don't fit on the shelf, so I have to put them like on top of other books. I've had to like stack some of my books because again they didn't fit. And I still don't have space for all of them. I've still got books that I can't actually put on here. I've got a pile of books down here that I'm planning to like get rid of, but I've still got books underneath that just don't have a place. You may be wondering why this book is here, and that's because this is a library book. And at the moment I don't have a place for library books either, and typically they sit wherever they want, and when we need to tidy up they sit on top of our fan because it's right next to the bookshelf. So that's the state of the bookshelf right now. In short, my problem right now is that I don't have a lot of space. So I'm going to solve that. I need more space for my books, and the obvious solution would obviously be to get another bookshelf. We don't really have space for another bookshelf in our flat currently. Certainly not a full one. I don't want an excuse to buy a bunch more books. If I get a whole new shelf and I can buy a bunch more books, I probably will. So having the limited space at least gives me that opportunity to go, well, you know what, I can't buy too many books. I have to really want to buy books, but I do still want to solve the issue that I have here, which is just making things a little bit tidier, a little bit nicer to look at. So yeah, so issue number one is I want to ensure that I have enough space to put the books that I have currently. Issue number two is that I personally find that coming to the shelf and looking for a book can be a bit difficult to kind of come and go, well, I'm gonna pick this book and just be done with it, because I have so many books on here that I want to read, so many books that I have read and I really enjoyed. So I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be like, well, do I want to read Where Sleeping Girls Lie? Because I haven't read that yet. Or do I want to read Yinka, Where Is Your Husband? Because I really enjoyed that. I found it really like a bit like a warm hug, and maybe that's what I need right now. You know, I could go on and on. And then finally, the third issue is for the books that I'm currently reading, I want to have a place for them, because I obviously don't want to pick up a book, start reading it, and then when we are tidying up, have to then put it back on the shelf. So yeah, I want a place to put books that I'm currently reading, whether that be my books or library books, and just keep things just a bit more organised instead of having a book over here and a book over there. So I think I've come up with a solution, and that solution is this. So you may be asking, what is in the box? I bought a 3-tier trolley from, as you can see, Hobbycraft. Not sponsored, by the way. I have seen a lot of creators like talk about book carts and like TBR carts and things like that. I personally am not someone who likes to jump in on trends or buy things just for the sake of buying them. However, I feel like this would be a good solution to a lot of the problems that I have, because with my book trolley, I will be able to take some of the books that are on here that I know I want to read, whether that be for this year or maybe this month or just maybe the season. I can take them from here and I can put them on the cart, and that way I have a smaller selection to choose from when I'm actually choosing books. I can also have one of the shelves dedicated to the books I'm currently reading, so that includes library books and the books that I own. I can have a place for my iPad, which again currently just kind of sits wherever I leave it, but because I do most of my ebook reading on my iPad, it then means that I have a place for that, and you know, any other kind of bookish things, so I can have a little pot on there for my bookmarks, which always seem to just go missing because again they don't have a place so they end up just being left wherever they are left. That is the plan for this trolley, and taking the books from there and putting them on here will hopefully mean that this has just a little bit more space, so I have the option to decorate each of the shelves again. I have the option of spacing out the books so they don't look so cramped, just kind of things like that. So next in this little saga is going to be opening this box and building my wee trolley. Ta-da! Woo! That did not take long at all. I thought that was going to take like an hour. Nice. Oh, okay. Don't do that. Okay. This took a lot less time than I thought it would. But I have now got my cart built. My general thinking is these two shelves for my TBR, and then this top one will be for what I'm currently reading, any library books that I have that are either like to be read, currently reading, or need to like take back, as well as any other kind of bookish things that I own. Like my iPad would be folded up and just popped in there. And now I know that it's always meant to be in there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna sort it out right now. I think I'm gonna wait a little bit just because I don't want to just start like ripping books out my shelf and like making a huge mess when I already have a huge mess to tidy up. So I'm gonna take a little breather, maybe have a think about how I want to organise this in a bit more detail. It's always best to kind of take things step by step rather than just trying to do things all at once. So I'm going to take a little breather. The next time you see me, it will be in an instant, but for me, it will be a few hours or a day or maybe longer. Hopefully not longer. Voiceover matter here. So this is just a couple of days later. I wasn't feeling 100% and I honestly just wanted to get this done. So my first step is to go through the books that I want to read this year that are kind of still already on my shelf. So these are books that are on my specific 2025 TBR, as well as a few other books that I just kind of want to get to this year. The plan is that I should pick up books from the trolley to read rather than from the shelf, and I can only add to the trolley once I've finished a book and I'm like putting that book back onto the shelf. Hopefully that'll just give me like a little bit more structure and, you know, a little bit more intention with my reading. So with that done, I'm just going to do like a little tidy of the shelves, putting the books that I've moved back where they're kind of meant to be, and putting a few books that were already out of place where they're actually meant to be. So onto the little trolley. So I start splitting the books into two main sections, which is basically just like the level of priority. So I've got books that are on my TBR for this year on one side, and then I've got, you know, other books on the other side. Not a lot of like thought really went into the order. Normally, obviously, my bookshelf is alphabetical. I didn't want to do that here. Instead, I kind of just did vibes. So I just did the kind of like general vibes. So I put a lot of like non-fiction together and a lot of fantasy together. But hopefully just mean that I'll be kind of like, oh, I'm feeling this, and I've got a few options that are in that area. With the trolley taking just a bit more of a shape, I did a final check on my shelves just to see if there were any other books that I would like to get to this year. So I'm talking about like books that I've maybe had on my shelves for quite a while and I kind of want to get to them soon. But as well, some YA books that like I own, but because I'm growing out of YA, I'm like, do I still want to own these? In short, if it's a book that I really, really want to read this year, or I'm kind of thinking of maybe getting rid of it, I will try to read it soon, so it kind of went on to the trolley. So with my wee trolley done and all of those books actually out, I did a proper rearrange of my shelves. So that's kind of getting the books from the places they were not meant to be in, making sure they are in the place they're supposed to be, and kind of just doing like a little moving around of all the books. The plan was to give myself enough space to take some of the decorations, particularly on the top shelf, and put them back onto the shelves. But I actually didn't have enough space to sort that all out. Regardless, even just this little tiny made a massive difference. So even though I didn't get to move the decorations back, I'm still really happy with this. So, my final products. My trolley looks really good and it still has a lot of space, which kind of means that I have the space to move books around without needing to worry too much about that. Like I mentioned, I didn't end up with as much space on my shelves as I wanted, but A, it looks so much cleaner and less cluttered, so I'm happy, and B, it means that, you know, I have that opportunity to move more books to my trolley if I want to as well. But now, all I need to do is sit back and enjoy my books and my new trolley. Thank you so much for joining me on this little adventure. I really hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, feel free to stay tuned for more. Hopefully I will see you soon. Bye bye.